Welcome back, everyone. This is Thomas Triple T Toy with another new bullish crypto analysis. Before we dig in and take a look at the Bitcoin and equities market trends analysis, let's remember that this is for edutainment only and not to be considered as financial advice. Additionally, if you could help spread my easy to understand analysis out to the rest of the world, especially people who don't do their own analysis or people who are new to the crypto space. You can do that by smashing the like, ringing my bell to get notifications, and hitting subscribe if you haven't already, and also leave comments and questions in the comment section. So with that, let's dig into the charts, and we'll take a look at the crypto heat map first. We can see here that it's blood red, but it's not looking that bad, compared to several days ago when Bitcoin was down as low as 22.8K on KuCoin, for example. It's blood red, but it's moving up. But I don't think the bottom's in yet, so just be careful about that. But this is still bargain prices here for a lot of these coins. So Bitcoin, 30K roughly down 3.15, but it's back above 30K. That's a very strong support. Dominance, notice the dominance here, 44.34. It was in the 41s. That's interesting right there. Ethereum, roughly 2K, down 4.2%. And notice that the dominance is dropping towards the lower end of 19%. It's 19.17. It was like 19.4 something when I last looked at it. So, and everything else is mostly red. So, tough day for the market still. Let's take a look at the market cap. Market cap, $1.29 trillion, and that's down 22.8% in the last 24 hours. Something interesting that you might want to pay attention to is I've talked a lot about this on Twitter, but you can see that Tether, USDT, is still not pegged to $1. It's been under $1 for, I think, 6-7 days, consecutive days now, while USDC is staying at $1 most of the time, if not above it. But you can also see that when USDT drops to its peg, I think this one was roughly around 80. Now, is it 85 cents? I think it was 85 cents. Don't quote me on that, but it dropped pretty low down here. I know it had a 5 in there, but notice when it dropped, look what happened to USDC coin. Negative correlation there. Interesting. If you are storing your stablecoins in USDT, you might want to consider using USDC because USDT is questionable and it has a much larger market cap at $75.7 billion, whereas USDC has roughly $52 billion. Here's the heat map for the U.S. equities market. We see the technology here. It's bright red to muted red. Communication services, pretty mixed here. Consumer silico, this whole section right here. Tesla down 5.88%. That's pretty tough. It's mostly red to muted red. Consumer services is a little bit better. We got greens to some muted colors here. Muted greens to muted green. Go down here in financials. It's mostly muted red. Some spots of greens and some spots of red, but mostly muted red down here. Healthcare looking better here, at least in two sections. The drug manufacturers, general, that's mostly green. And then we got some muted green there. And then the healthcare plans, that's green and muted green. But the rest of healthcare, biotechnology, medical devices, diagnostics, uh, medical insurance, and drug manufacturer, medical whatever down here. They're mostly muted red, some muted greens. Industrial, it's mixed, muted red, muted green, some spots of reds and some spots of green. But it's just a mix of muted red and greens here. Real estate, muted red, mostly muted red, some muted greens. Energy is the bright spot for the day, in addition to drug manufacturers general. It's pretty much bright green in this energy sector here. Utilities, muted green, greens to muted reds here. Basic materials, some spots of bright greens, muted reds, muted greens down here. So as far as crypto is concerned, it's positively correlated to technology and tech companies in communication services and consumer silico like Amazon, Tesla, etc. So it's tied into this section, which is mostly red to muted red. So let's take a look at the trading view 30-minute time frame charts here. On the left column, we have the U.S. markets. Middle column, we have European and Stock 600. The right column here, we have Australian and Asian markets. And the far right, we have the watch list. So let's go through the watch list first. You see here Nasdaq, that's down 1.14 roughly. Let me double check that. 1.16 there, down. SPX, that's down 39 basis points. DJI, that's down that's up 8 basis points. And we're at the end of the trading day here, so these are pretty much locked in for the day. Volatility index is less volatile, dropping below that 30 mark. The start of the extreme volatility is down at 27.47, and that's down roughly, I can't read that, 4.85. Dixie is still hanging pretty high there at 104.11, and that's down 6.27, I believe. No, that's down only 27 basis points. The zero looks like a 6 from here. It's dark red and black. U.S. 10-year yield is dropped a little bit, but as far as like a 7-day trend, but on the 24-hour, it's still up 7 basis points, and it's at 2.888. U.S. oil is it's running pretty high here, but 24-hour is pretty flat at 0.00. It's at $113.7 a barrel. Gold is down at 1824, and I believe on a 24-hour period, that's roughly down 1 basis points. Silver is at 2159, down 10 basis points. Euro versus USD. Euro is stronger by 4 basis points at $1.04 to the dollar. The pound is $1.23 to the dollar, and that's up 4 basis points. US and Japanese yen. Dollar is weaker than the yen by looks like 8 basis points, but let me double check. 8 basis points. So dollar's not doing very good today as compared to at least those three currencies. And I think I'm going to do a separate video on foreign currencies as far as the Dixie is concerned. That way it'll give you a better understanding of why it's so important to the economy for those of you who don't understand that as well. Let's go over here and take a look at Bitcoin here. So over the weekend, what did Bitcoin do? Bitcoin pretty much, as of last Friday, the 13th. Was that Friday the 13th? I think so. Anyways, it dropped down, and then it went back up over the weekend, and then dropped down again. So it was choppy over the weekend. At market opening today, what did it do? It dropped and then rose. So let's take a look at the Nasdaq. Over the weekend, Nasdaq, compared to last Friday's opening, it's pretty much chopping sideways. See that? At market opening today, it's just chopped, just up and down, up and down. And the S&P 500 compared to last Friday, it's pretty much chopping sideways too. At market opening, it kind of chopped upward and then downward towards the latter half of its trading period. The Dow Jones Industrial Average here compared to last Friday, market opening, it went up slightly. You see that? It went up slightly and then dropped back down. Probably went up more than the other two, NDQ and SPX. So let's look at Bitcoin as a positive correlation to Nasdaq and S&P 500. Market open, Bitcoin kind of dropped slightly and then went up. The other two pretty much went up and then went down. So positive correlation is not really holding there. So let's take a look at the Dixie. Over the weekend, as you know, Dixie wasn't trading then, but I believe on the 15th, well, this is the 15th, it started chopping sideways and slightly down. Market opening today, it chopped slightly downward. So it chopped downward while Bitcoin chopped upward after market opening. So negative correlation held there. So, and it's continued to trend down. So that negative correlation holds there. So, okay. Let's go to US 10-year yield. Let's take a look at the trends here. US 10-year yield, compared to last Friday, it's down from the Friday. If you look at the 7-day period, it's pretty much down on the lower end of the 7-day period. So I forgot to do the 7-day period for the others here. Bitcoin 7-day period, you're looking at is on the lower half. Half would be somewhere here. It's down in the lower half. Nasdaq compared to the 7-day, it's probably on the upper half. Same thing with S&P 500. It's on the upper half, and right now DJI is on the upper half. So U.S. market, what does it look like today? It's choppy. You know, it's I think it went up and then went down, and pretty much ended where it did last Friday, pretty much. So not a lot of changes. Let's go over to your UK 100 index here. Over the compared to last Friday, it's last Friday U.S. time, that is. It's up slightly at U.S. market opening. It went up and then went back down. DAX pretty much comparable to last Friday, but 7-day period is on the top range, top of the range. And same thing with UK 100. For the CAC 40, 7-day period, it's on the upper end of the range and choppy in its last trading period. This is SXXP, which is stock 600, 7-day period on the upper range of its 7-day, and last period is pretty much chopping sideways. So you see a lot of chopping sideways from U.S. markets to European markets. Let's go over to Australia. 7-day period is on the upper end of a 7-day period. Last trading period is pretty much chopped up and down, but it's higher than its prior session. Similarly, Nikkei 225 on the upper end of its trading period, higher than its previous trading period. So more choppy to the downside though on the current. So Australia and Japan, they both are choppy towards the downside of the current trading session. Almost the same thing with KOSPI from South Korea, 7-day period on the upper half, not upper end, upper half, and then last period chopping downward slightly. The Hong Kong HSI index, 7-day period on the upper end of a 7-day period. However, on the last trading period, it's pretty much chopping down and then went back up slightly. Pretty much sideways, but trending down on the trading period. The CSI 300 from Shanghai, 7-day period on the upper half. Last trading period, it's choppy, slightly down. So Australia and Asian markets, very similar here. We see them choppy, trending down in the last period, but more towards the upper half or upper end of the 7-day period. So market looks kind of muted, in my opinion. If you cross-reference the U.S. markets, through Europe and Asia and Australia, they're, you know, they're kind of muted. Pretty muted is what I would say. So what does this mean for the rest of this week? Who knows, really? I think it's going to range. It's going to go, stay pretty muted unless we get some more macro news that's going to change things, or macro reports from the U.S. or European Union, etc., that will impact things. But I would expect it to trade pretty similar to where it is now, unless macro environments change. All right. I appreciate your time. Please help spread my easy-to-understand analysis to help others make more informed decisions. You can do that by smashing the like. Smash it really hard. Ringing my bell, hitting subscribe if you haven't, and then sharing your thoughts and questions in the comment section. I appreciate your time. See you in the next video for the macro news. Peace.